I was never really into sports as a kid, 0 points across 3 rec basketball seasons and a backup wide receiver during my 1 season of football. And I don't know, if you're living in like a small town, like up north, there't really that much to do. Everyone plays lacrosse. That's just what everyone does. So if you're not interested in it, you just need something to do. I chose drawing. Hi, I'm Quinn Broll. I'm a high schooler from Connecticut, and I like to draw and make art. When I sit down, I like to draw something. I usually don't have like an idea in my head of what I'm gonna do. I just start kind of letting the pencil go, and then eventually I'll draw something that I like enough to try and make it into a bigger thing. I don't know, I feel like in like fictional stuff, a lot of the time it's kind of like the artist is like just constantly gets like inspired by something, and then he like goes and like sits down and like immediately makes something great. But honestly, like a lot of the creative process is just like failing a lot and drawing things you don't like a lot. Getting inspired, it's something that happens during the creative process. It's not like the start of the creative process. It just doesn't work that way most of the time. Like for like 1 out of 10 drawings, I actually like get inspired before I sit down. The different mediums, it's fun because living in like a modern era, there's so much different stuff you could do to draw. Like some days I spend the whole time on the iPad, and sometimes with my sketchbook working on a painting. There's a lot of stuff to do. I have one of those like linoleum stamp print things that you cut out. I've yet to print it out, but it's kind of a failure, honestly. It's my first attempt.
You have something in your teeth?
I don't think it's visible from this distance, honestly, but
It's the pizza.
Yeah, I know.
I was biting into it like this. I was like,
I can edit it out. It's fine.
I could CG it out.
Yeah.
Me and my older brother this summer, we spent about 2 or 3 months working on this book, Fluorescent Suntan, and he wrote a collection of poems, and then I did the illustrations for it. It was a good experience to like when you've been drawing for a while, and then all of a sudden you actually get something like in print that people could buy. It's a cool experience. And it was my first like real illustration job at all, even though it wasn't really like a professional thing. It was an actual paid job. The only other like real time I've gotten to like make money off of my art, it actually came from Fluorescent Suntan because someone saw the sort of like ad picture thing we did when we were advertising the book, and they came to me and asked me to draw a tattoo for them, which they never got, but I got paid for making it, so at least there's that. In art, a lot of the things you make are all connected, and usually one opportunity comes from a previous one you've had, like the advertisement and then getting the tattoo. And I feel like a lot of people, there's sort of like a starving artist mentality among people, but it's honestly like you can get paid as an artist pretty easily with social media and stuff. It's really easy to advertise yourself and get your work out there for people to see. I hope to be a professional artist at some point, but honestly, like you can just work a pretty like chill job, like a grocery store or something, and then just like go home and draw for people for a few hours, and you could make like a pretty healthy amount of money and be able to live off of that. And I think, I don't know, people think that art in any form is like it's a death trap to try and go into that professionally, but I think people need to start to like see it as actual viable job to have. After working on Fluorescent Suntan. I've wanted to do another book, so I've started writing and doing a little bit of illustration for a second book that I'll be making myself. There's a lot of difference between the amount of time I sometimes spend on drawing. Like sometimes I just sit down, draw for like 15 minutes and then just get up and don't touch my sketchbook ever again that day. But some days I'll sit down and draw something and really like that, and then I'll spend like 2 or 3 hours working on something, and then some days it stretches into multiple days of drawing something that I like. So it really is, it could go either way. It's sort of hard to express yourself in a lot of ways unless you're like doing art or something, because you know it's like people don't just go and like say their feelings unless you have like a therapist or something. So I think like the art is my therapy. To sit down and express my frustration and my joy, it's a unique experience, and I kind of feel bad that a lot of people don't have something like that, and they just kind of they go about their day like just keeping all this stuff inside instead of being able to go get it out. Sometimes, I mean, I just draw something because it like looks cool, or like because I had an idea and I wanted to draw it, and sometimes it just genuinely means nothing, and then some people will like read into it with whatever they want. And some days like I'll be looking at an old sketchbook and I'll be like, oh, I know what that meant now, even though I didn't at the time of creating it. Because sometimes you just have to let your subconscious mind express yourself for you, because you just don't really understand, and then you'll look back later and it'll have an actual meaning. And I think also sometimes like just because it isn't my intended meaning, I don't think the viewer should be able to have their own thoughts on the drawing and like have their own meaning to it. So I think that's a cool thing, that someone can actually like look at something I made and then have it relate to themselves, even if it wasn't my intended theme or meaning of the drawing. I think everyone should go and like just express himself, whether it's music, writing, drawing. It's not just good for like your mental health. It's good for the soul, you know. It's sort of a release that I can't really describe. Just create something and be yourself. You could find me on Instagram at QuintaRooneyArt, and I'm gonna try hopefully get some sort of YouTube thing going, hopefully a website or something, and also hopefully there'll be a book coming soon, so keep an eye out for that one. I think if you're going to create, you know, do it for yourself. Don't let other people influence you or anything. Just you're doing it for yourself, and I think, you know, if you're gonna make choices because of other people or live certain ways because of other people, then you're not living your life.
Alright, yeah, that's pretty good. I think I have enough.